chaos at Ibrox. Gerrard snubs a stunning return. Lampard won't even take the call. And now Graham Potter's being lined up after flopping at West Ham. Meanwhile, Rangers legend Kevin Muscat is ignored completely. Steven Gerrard was right there. The man who dragged Rangers back to the top, ended the obsession with 10 in a row, and delivered that sacred 55. He was on the verge of returning to Ibrox. And after the utter collapse under Russell Martin, you needed someone with real shoulders to carry the weight of that badge. But instead, he walked away. Now look, we were led to believe this was all but done. Talks were held in London with Andrew Kavanagh and Parag Maratha. Smiles, handshakes, quiet confidence. Gerrard even told Sky Sports he appreciated the fans' loyalty and wished the club well. Lovely. But let's not pretend this was just about timing. That's the PR version. Behind the scenes, it's clear Gerrard had doubts, serious ones. He told Rio Ferdinand bluntly that if he ever came back to Rangers, it would need to be with different people. That's not subtle. That's a manager who felt unsupported the first time and doesn't trust the current direction, and who can blame him? This is a club that chewed up Russell Martin and spat him out in 123 days, the shortest tenure in Rangers history. He was never up to the job, fair enough, but the scenes at Falkirk, a police escort out the back of the stadium, supporters surrounding the bus like it was a war zone. Gerrard saw that and probably thought, no thanks. And to be fair, if that's how we're treating the man in the dugout now, how many other serious managers are thinking the exact same? Dan King, writing in The Sun, even joked that the only people Gerrard might have needed beside him were police on horseback in the Ibrox car park. That's how chaotic it's become. And while the board dithers and the fans grow restless, we're sitting 8th in the league, already off the pace, out of form, and half out of Europe. So Gerrard, a man with unfinished business, walks away. Why? Because he needed to be convinced Rangers still match his ambition, that we're still a club that acts like the biggest in the country, not just says it. Instead, he saw internal confusion, boardroom division, and probably a dressing room still poisoned by poor recruitment. He saw a club unprepared to back him, unsure of its identity, and unwilling to fix the problems behind the curtain, so he pulled out. Kavanagh's under pressure, the dressing room's fractured, the support's lost patience, and Ibrox, once a place of loyalty and fire, now feels like a job interview nobody wants to take. Let me ask you this. If even Steven Gerrard, a title-winning hero who loves this club, won't touch this job right now, then what does that really say about the state of Rangers? First Gerrard, now Lampard. The circus continues at Ibrox and the board's clown car keeps stalling. Frank Lampard, yes, another former England captain, another headline name, another man who won't even entertain the idea of managing Rangers. Let that sink in. According to reports, Lampard didn't just say no, he had zero interest in even holding a conversation. That's where we are. This is a man who's coaching in the English Championship with Coventry City. Coventry! A club without a sniff of the Premier League for over 20 years. And yet, when Rangers come calling, a giant of European football with history, a massive fan base, and the pull of Ibrox, he shrugs it off and says, nah, I'll stay here. And what's worse, you can't even blame him. Coventry are flying, unbeaten in 9, scoring for fun, and Lampard's got full control over the project down there. Meanwhile, up here, the club's a managerial graveyard. Since Gerrard left in 2021, we're now heading for a 5th permanent appointment, and that's not counting the caretakers. It's chaos. Russell Martin was supposed to be the shiny new long-term thinker, the progressive coach. What we got was European humiliation, domestic disaster, and one measly league win before he was booted out. A record breaker, right enough, just not in the way anyone wanted. Now, the new owners, the 49ers, are staring at 2 brutal rejections in a week. Gerrard turned them down flat despite their best sales pitch, and Lampard, whose stock in management isn't exactly sky high, didn't even bother to walk through the door. Why? Because whatever they're offering down at Ibrox clearly isn't convincing anybody. It's embarrassing. And more than that, it's damning. You can throw around buzzwords like ambition and project all you want, but if managers are literally refusing to speak with you, the reality is obvious. Nobody believes in what's happening behind the scenes. Not the big names, not the ones with options. What happened to this club being a destination? What happened to Rangers being a step up? Right now, it feels like we're the ones begging, and managers in England's second tier are brushing us aside like we're a lower league side pestering for a pre-season friendly. If even Lampard won't consider managing Rangers, have we finally lost the respect we used to command across British football? You want pressure? You want scrutiny? You want a job where every drop point feels like the end of the world? Welcome to Ibrox, Graham Potter, and no offense, but you don't look built for it. Yes, the former Chelsea and West Ham boss is now on the shortlist to take over at Rangers, but let's be honest, this feels like a name plucked out the air to impress the back pages, not the support. Potter's had a strange career arc, from managing in Sweden's fourth tier to coaching Chelsea in the Champions League knockout rounds. Fair enough, he's climbed, but what happened when he got to the top? Collapse. At Chelsea, he lost the dressing room. At West Ham, he lost games. His final win rate there? Just 24%. That's relegation form. Now ask yourself this, why would anyone at Rangers look at that and think, that's the man to clean up this mess? He's known for slow, possession-based football, horseshoe passes around the back line. Patience, patience, patience. Sound familiar? That's exactly what Russell Martin tried, and we all saw how that ended. Potter's style is almost a copy and paste of the failed Martin experiment. Possession for possession's sake, with no bite in the final third, and a defense that leaks goals at set pieces like a sieve in a rainstorm. That's the last thing Rangers need right now. You need steel, grit, a manager who knows what it means to grind out a result on a freezing night away at Kilmarnock, a leader who doesn't flinch when the banners come out, the boos rain down, and the media pile in. Potter, he's not that man. His calm, cerebral approach might work at a club where finishing 8th is seen as decent progress. At Ibrox, finishing 8th gets you hounded out the door. Just ask the last guy. Even the board seem to realize this. Rangers insiders are reportedly adamant they're focusing on other targets. He's on the list, but nowhere near the top. Yet the very fact he's on the list at all raises the same nagging question. Who exactly is making these decisions? Are we so blinded by name value now that we've forgotten what Rangers football is supposed to feel like? Because bringing in Graham Potter, fresh off a failure in London, with a system that already flopped at Ibrox, well, that wouldn't just be tone deaf, it'd be reckless, and it would push the support even further away from this so-called vision the board keeps talking about. Would hiring Graham Potter prove that the Rangers board are more interested in image than in actually winning football matches? Just when you thought this managerial saga couldn't get any more tangled, in comes the Kevin Muscat twist. Now, Muscat's name has been circling for a while. A former Ranger, 3 trophies as a player in Govan, and a reputation as a hard-edged, no-nonsense boss. He's got silverware on his CV, 8 managerial trophies across Australia, Japan, and now China. And unlike some of the other names being thrown about, this is a man who knows what it means to wear the shirt, to walk out at Ibrox and to fight for 3 points like it's life or death. But then the confusion hits. Reports claimed Muscat had been interviewed, that the board were seriously looking at him. Then came the response from 4 lads had a dream, a flat-out no. No interview, no contact, nothing. So what's going on? This whole thing is starting to smell like a club without a clear plan. Gerrard was the dream, and he walked. Lampard wouldn't even pick up the phone. Potter's name is floating about despite his recent record being, frankly, laughable. Roll is the current frontrunner, but he's got fewer than 90 senior games under his belt. And Muscat, a man who's won trophies as both player and manager, a man who's succeeded in environments where pressure is sky high, hasn't even had a conversation. You've got to ask, what exactly is the plan here? Muscat might not bring the hype of a Gerrard return, but hype doesn't win football matches. A proper coaching pedigree, a deep understanding of the club, and a willingness to handle pressure with fire in the belly, that's what you need. And if this board are ignoring Muscat while chasing names that look good in press releases but fold when the heat's on, well, that says it all. This isn't just about getting the appointment right, it's about making sure Rangers don't drift any further into mediocrity. So let me ask you, if the board won't even speak to a former Ranger with a proven winning record, are they really looking for the best man for the job or just the best PR headline? Comment below what you think about the news. Don't forget to leave a like on the video to help me out. I post videos every day talking about our Rangers, so if you're not subscribed, you're missing out on the latest news. See you soon.